Oh God, please help! My beard, it's decided to eat my face! Hey there, kids, welcome back to the channel. I'm Uncle Frank, and we are going to return once again to the world of battle cards. This interesting TCG that I talked about, I've mentioned it in a previous video where I called it the worst TCG. And as a card game, I think that declaration holds true. But as a series of collectible cards, I think it's a very different story, because if you remove the game aspect from battle cards entirely, it's a pretty interesting and really kind of unique fantasy card set, which I have taken the time to put what I have in a binder and see what I got of the full set. And as I was sleeving and putting these cards away, I got around to reading some of them, and I enjoyed them quite a bit. And it's important to know that while most battle cards are like this, so for instance, we have here the Bone Scratcher. While most battle cards are the actual playable cards with the gameplay aspect of the scratch-off slots on the front, and then the basic information of the card itself on the back, there are some cards included in the set that are not purely gameplay cards. In fact, the very first card in the set, card number 1, is Vangoria itself, the setting of battle cards as a fantasy world, which has not only the map of Vangoria there on the front, but on the back, the entire, quick backstory of the entire continent. And this is a lot. This isn't like a quick paragraph or so of text. This is like a small freaking article right here, going over a few little details. And I didn't mention it in the proper video review of this game, but I actually really do like the borders of the cards. If you take away the scratch off aspect, the actual art for the borders looks freaking beautiful. It looks like you're peering into an old art gallery, which is what a lot of these cards give me the impression of. And some of these, like I said, these just look really nice. I like how this one doesn't have a listed artist. That's pretty funny. Speaking of artists, some of these first cards here are artists. Like, I'm pretty sure I recognize this one here, Ian McCaig, if I can get it out of the page. Yeah, like he even did his own art here. I was pretty sure I recognized the name. Good old Ian, which has, again, on the back, like, it has its own lore here. He has his own lore here. Like, bro has his own story in the game. That's pretty great. Another thing that's really interesting is, I think I mentioned it before, but I didn't really go into detail about how these quests work and how you receive the treasures. You see, in some packs you'll get these quest cards, which have their own special rules to them. You'll see here that if you can solve the quest, which involves, for this one instance, bring me 5 penniless men and I will give to them a treasure worth more than any gold could buy. Well, what this card wants is for you to look through the battle card set, find 5 men who fit the criteria of being penniless, and then send those cards plus Saint Charity's quest to the battle cards company. Right? Yeah. To Merlin, blah, blah, blah. If you do that, you send this in, send the 5 cards that match the criteria, and for that one, you will get one of these treasure cards at the end of the set, the Lyre of Eternal Song. And yeah, the treasure cards that you can win have their own separate border, which is not as interesting or as ornate as the other one, I think. It does have that nice golden bejeweled look to it, which I think is kind of neat. But the real part here is that these are really cool. Not only do these have a bit of story to them themselves, and you can go ahead and pause and read that if you want, but it has its own nice language on the back of some of them. And obviously I don't have all of them. I only have 3 here to look through for reference, but I think this is its own fantasy language and its own fantasy lettering system, which I think is a lot of effort to put in to a one-off, scratch-off card game. And I think that's really, really neat and really kind of cool. And I mentioned it in the previous video, but this game really does have some fantastic art. There's a lot of really good stuff here to look at. Like the Bone Scratcher, as I said before, look at this. This is some absolutely gnarly fantasy art. That's just a horrifying looking zombie man. And as you go through the set, you'll see all sorts of really cool art. Like all this crazy demonic stuff, these cool sword and sorcery-esque warriors, these horrifying looking goblin monsters. And yeah, you got like unimpressive looking warriors here. Like this card is Helmet the Bold. This Boris the Brave is almost certainly reused Conan art. Like I would be willing to bet $5 that this is just recycled Conan the Barbarian art. But a lot of the stuff just looks really beautiful. And if you're a fan of collecting fantasy cards, trading cards, then you know what? While Battle Cards may have failed as a game, I think it does really nicely as a just really neat piece of collectible cards. And yeah, some of them just have really nice stories on the back with their status of awesome. Awesome. Really nice. I like that a lot. You know, and it's really interesting when you go back and look at some of the, especially the earlier failed card games, and you got to kind of be thankful that they did fail the way they did as a card game, because, you know, what if Battle Cards had taken off? What if this had become a super desirable collectible? You know, in a parallel universe, there'd be no way that you could go through and complete a set of Battle Cards very easily, or get, you know, a lot of these cards for cheap just to appreciate them in this nice little collection. I mean, look at this. This is some nice art right here. Or check this one out. This one, this Ye Olden Days Fur Affinity art. You know, had Battle Cards taken off, it would have been much more difficult to collect a set of the cards just to appreciate the art they have on display. So in that aspect, while yeah, Battle Cards was not a great game, in my opinion, I think it makes a pretty great collectible just for those people out there who appreciate some nice fantasy art on their cards and want something a bit more unique and out there to fill out their binders. You know, in the current TCG ecosystem, there's a lot of people who have completely forgotten the collectible aspect of the hobby. They focus so much on the financial section of card games and the hobby in general that they tend to lose sight of the fact that there's a lot of stuff out there that is just really nice to collect, just for the sake of collecting it, not to pursue any financial goal, but just to kind of, you know, enjoy the ride of filling out a binder with some nice art. And really, if you look back in time through the last 30 years of trading card games, there's a lot of games out there that are worth picking up and collecting and pursuing the hunt for just because they do look nice filling out a binder. Even if you don't necessarily enjoy the gaming aspect of trading card games, the collectible aspect of it can still be a fun way to spend some of your time. And I think it's unfortunate that a lot of people out there these days just don't really take that into consideration when they decide to pursue the card game collectibles hobby. Anywho, that's really all I got for you kids today. I just wanted to ramble for a bit and show off some more Battle Cards because I do actually genuinely like the art. It's just a shame about how bad the game is itself. But that's all I got. Please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment down below if you enjoyed this video. I'd appreciate it so much if you interacted with it so that the algorithm shows it to more people. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.